Hello everyone, my name is Ginny and today's video is going to be a short video about how you can improve your English grade from D, C to A. As someone who's not naturally good at English, I did a lot to improve my grade, so I think it is worth sharing what I did to improve my grade because English is always a subject that makes my L1 R5 very high. Like instead of getting like maybe 7 or 8, I always get 10, 11, 12 because I got C for English. In Sec 1, Sec 2, Sec 3, Sec 4 in school, I've never got an A for English, but in O-level, I got A2 because my hard work finally paid off, and I'm confident that if you believe in yourself, you can also get an A even though you always get a C right now. So let's get into what I did to improve my grade and get A2 in O-level. My first and most important point of this video is that you have to make English your priority. You cannot just push practicing English away just because you have maths or science homework or tests to revise for. English is also an important subject that have an effect on your L1 R5 and like your overall score. For me, I prioritize it by assigning that every Saturday I'll be doing English. And I have a specific plan for each week. For example, this week I'm going to practice editing until my average mark is 8 out of 10. For each week, you can make up a specific plan of the things that you want to improve on. For example, one set of paper 2. And when marking, you should pay attention to the answers and the mistakes that you make in order to learn how to get it right. You can even note down some interesting answers or answers to the type of question that you find came up a lot so you can get it right next time. Once you finally learn something about getting higher mark in a particular section, you should do it again to reinforce what you have learned. In order to get A1 or A2 in O-level, you have to do all parts as perfectly as you can. So don't choose to focus on one part or the areas that you're good at but not the one that you're not good at, because all parts have to be good in order to get A1 or A2. Even though you're not that good yet, if you make improvement, you can definitely get an A2 at least. For each section, always aim all correct. Even though it is very difficult to get all correct, but your aim should be all correct. It's not necessary to expect that you'll get full mark, but the aim is that you want every question to be correct. So what I mean is, try your best in each question. Even the question that you don't know the answer to, just write something that you think is the most likely to be the correct answer. Let's start from paper 1, editing. Editing is simple. Practice, practice, and practice, and you'll definitely see improvement. Like, you can just buy exercise book from Popular and then just do it and mark, but do it timed. For example, one exercise you can start with 10 minutes, and then when you're more pro, you should do 5 minutes per exercise. So yeah. And when you mark, you can see where you go wrong, and that's where you improve. Just continue doing like maybe 20s a day, and then just keep repeating within the same day so you won't forget, and do it regularly. I think you can definitely see the improvement. There have been so many instances where in my practice I get like 8, 9, 10, but in the exam I got 4. It always happens, but don't be discouraged because you're getting better every time you practice. And hopefully in the exam you can get as high as your practice is because your standard is getting more and more stable. For situational writing, I suggest to pay attention to correct format, and the style of writing should be like straight to the point, cover all bullet points, and I think keep it simple. Just state all your reasons or the things that the bullet points ask you to do. I think for situational writing, it's best to keep it simple and easy to understand. The next part, the essay. For me, I only write argumentative or discursive. I cannot do narrative, so I cannot give some advice on that. But what I always do, and I think it's the most important thing to get very high mark for essay, is that you have to plan first. Don't start writing until you have all the main points of each paragraph figured out. So It's okay to spend about 5 minutes to plan your essay, and don't confuse yourself while you're writing later because it's gonna slow you down a lot. Because if you keep writing and thinking, I think the flow or the clarity of the essay is not there. So you have to plan first and figure out what you're gonna write before you start writing. I think the longest time I can give for planning is 10 minutes because I think it's something really important. What I did to practice writing essay was I write essay timed at home every week. I give myself about 30 minutes to write one essay about like 600 words. 30 minutes doesn't include planning, so you can plan first, like practice planning and time the writing part separately. But if you can write your essay in 30 minutes, I think your timing will be fine in the exam. It's very interesting how I find the faster I write, the better the essay is because I'm very clear about what I want to write. Usually when I'm stuck and I spend longer time writing the essay, it turns out not as good as the one I write fast because I wasn't sure what I want to write about. So just find more essay questions and practice writing them. As you practice more and more, you can develop your personal style and stick with it. This will make you write faster. And to prepare for the type of you're not familiar with or the type that you're not good at, you can look at like the model essays and see some good structure from there or even phrases. You can incorporate it into your own writing if you like them. And also write some extra essays to give my teacher at school to mark, and they can give you a lot of feedback. So I think paper 1 of English is the paper that can pull your score up so much. And I would say for editing, aim for 8 out of 10 and writing more than 22 for each. Or about 22, you know. You can get there if you practice hard enough and prioritize it. Remember, please. I'm sure you can get A too if you want. Everyone. Next, let's get on to paper 2. Paper 2 is the hardest paper in my opinion because my text 2 always get 8 out of 20, so I find it very difficult. For visual text, the questions are quite repetitive, or the type of questions I would say. So you can look at like past papers or even exercise book from Popular and like I study the answer key and see what kind of answer are usually correct because they are very repetitive. For text 2, the narrative text, again the question types are quite repetitive, and I also study the answer key for this. And this is a very personal tip for me. When reading the passage, you should try to visualize what happened in that text, like you're watching a movie, and then you can actually like see what's happening and understand it more, if that makes sense. Anyways, that's just something I do and I find very helpful for me to visualize the text because sometimes the questions are very deep and it's almost like you have to be there in the story to get it right, because from reading alone you won't understand what's happening. You have to picture it in your head what's happening, like you're watching a movie, okay? And if you read in your free time, it will help a lot, I think, because you will have like a lot of imagination. Like me, I like reading now, but before, no. And for the flowchart, I choose the answer that stood out the most in that paragraph. And another thing is always answer in the correct tense. For example, if the question asks you, what did, you should answer in past tense. And if the question asks you, what is, you should write in present tense. And always full sentences, of course. Next, the text 3 and summary. The questions in this section is a bit more straightforward and you can get the answers like from the text mostly. So try to get as many marks as you can from the questions. And as for the summary, try to use conjunctions, connectors, or discourse markers. For example, however, although, additionally, moreover, furthermore, these kind of words can make your summary flow so much better and you'll get a lot higher for language marks. And if you exceed the word limit, you should try changing the sentence structure or combine two sentences into one. This helps decrease a lot of words. And about paraphrasing the points, if you're not too confident about doing that, or you're afraid you will lose marks because the paraphrase is not correct, you should try it in school, exam or test, or the one that's not graded, or ask your teacher's opinion on the exercise you practice on, whether the paraphrasing is accurate enough, For me, I have created a list from the exercise that I did, which I can share with you my list of synonyms I use for paraphrasing. Here. You can look for some words and think if you agree with me, because these are the lists that I created myself, so it might not be correct, but I think they're pretty good, so that's what I use also. If you want to get A1 or A2 in O-level, I think you have to paraphrase some points, or as much as you can, like most of the points. And lastly, for oral tests, for me, some tips are don't try to fit your practice answer to the real questions you get in the exam, because the examiner will know and it will sound weird, like you're trying to present the thing that you've prepared for, the one that you've memorized, and sometimes it doesn't make sense. Also, when you talk, it's okay to take a little bit of pause after you listen to the question and make sure you're ready before speaking. Try to have a structure in your head, like points, explanation, example, and conclude all the points together so that they understand you. Another thing is, I use strong words and don't be too soft. Be a little bit emotional, you're really enthusiastic about the topic and excited, Show some interest and don't use generic words like good, bad, this kind of things. Use some stronger words that have a more specific meaning. And if you can think of some unique points, I think that will really impress the examiner. So it's not boring for the examiner. They might give you more marks. I don't know. And that's all for the tips I got today. I want to tell everyone that if you believe that you can get A for English, you will get it. And don't let anyone discourage you. If you have tuition classes, you can consult your tuition teacher, but going for tuition isn't something that worked for me. In the beginning of my Sec 4 year, I have an English tuition twice a week, and it doesn't work very well. I'm someone who learns very independently. If I know what I need to do to improve, I will do very well. But if you need some guidance, you can maybe try out tuition classes. But tuition class didn't work out for me. And when I want to stop having the tuition classes, because I thought I'll be better off studying on my own, which is true, when I want to withdraw from my class, the teacher literally said that, to be honest, the most I think you can get is C5. And see how it turned out. I got A2 for English. What she said discouraged me a little bit, but I try not to give so much attention to what she said. And I believe in myself more than what other people say affect me. I want to say that everyone, please, please, please keep practicing. Make English your priority, because it will make your L1 R5 a lot better. If you're not seeing progress, don't stop, because it will come. If you're really stuck, you should consult your teacher at school and ask them for some advice. See if they can help you. If they're helpful, good. If they're not, then you should really analyze your result on your own. And for each time, each exam, you have to keep revisiting the old papers in order to see your own mistakes. Pay attention to that and how you can improve. And that's it for today's video. I hope so much that it helps you. I wish everyone all the best in their O-levels, and good luck and goodbye.